In this longer than usual e-bike nugs video, I want to talk about two products which are at once very simple and very clever. And they're to do with keeping track of your stuff. Obviously, we'll ultimately come on to talk about keeping track of your bike, but let's start somewhere simpler. If you lost your keys and you dropped them somewhere, the sort of big tech way of being able to make sure you could find them again would be to use GPS, right? Some sort of GPS tracker on your bunch of keys. But that's not a great system in that context because GPS is very complex. You'd require a cell uplink, so a data uplink as well, so to be able to report that location. And it's also very power hungry. It takes a lot of electricity to run and therefore manage a GPS-based tracking system. For a few years we've had products from Tile, and then recently Apple launched this, the Apple AirTag. Now, tiny little device, comparatively cheap, about 40 or 50 quid, 40 or 50 dollars, 40 or 50 euros. But it's very simple. It is powered by a single watch battery, and the battery should last for about a year. And if you attach one of these to your set of keys, you should be able to find them again. How? It doesn't use GPS. What it does is, and I'm simplifying a little bit, but basically it broadcasts an encrypted signal, a private signal, over Bluetooth. That sort of says, "I'm Jeff, I'm Jeff, I'm Jeff," over and over again. That's useless, right? It's just this little Bluetooth thing sitting there. Bluetooth's really power efficient, which is why the battery can last for a year. But it's just this little thing sitting there, constantly pinging out, or on a frequency pinging out, an identifier, a token that identifies this particular device. If you had dropped your keys down the back of your sofa in your house and you wanted to find them again, you could just pull out your phone, bring up the Find My app, and you could either press a button to make this make a noise, so you find it by listening for it, or on your phones you could have a little arrow that shows you where to go to find where the device is and pick it up. I can't tell you the number of times we've done that. But if you dropped it on this path beside me here, for example, you didn't notice, how would you find it? And this is the genius of this system, and the reason I like it. Any iPhone that passes by can hear this thing shouting out, "I'm Jeff," and it can then, using its smarts and its internet connection, report that location up to a central server, all anonymously, all encrypted, but it can report it up so that if I had cycled all the way home, I've dropped my keys, pull out my phone, then any iPhone that passes will have located the keys for me and tell me where they are. And I could then come and get them. And when I got closer, I could use the beeping or the directional arrow thing to get me specifically where I needed to be. It's clever because this thing is really simple. It doesn't do very much, and it relies on your phone to do the thing that is complicated and it requires a lot of management to do, which is, I think, really, I like the simplicity of this. There are some limitations though, which we'll come on to in a second, but the reason I'm talking on the e-bike nugs channel about the AirTag is that I have one on my bike. Now, in my case, it is down here underneath the saddle in a little holder from a company called Light, and I like it a lot. It attaches to the saddle a couple of Allen bolts. It looks quite discreet. I don't think you would particularly notice it was there unless you're looking for it. It's protected from the rain, even though they're waterproof, protected from the rain underneath the saddle, and I like it a lot. However, there is a new product just out which my friend Carrie has kindly loaned me. It is this, the AirBell. And it is basically the same idea. It is a holder for your AirTag, but the reason it's quite and quietly brilliant in the same way as the AirTag itself is that it looks like any basic ass bike bell. This is a sort of bell that you would get when you buy a bike from Halfords or something. Really, really simple, and like not a brilliant bell. It works, you know, it's got a little spring in here, pull it back, ting it against your bell, it works fine. And it's got a little strap hook here that you would put that onto your handlebars. But underneath the bell dome there is space, and you wouldn't know unless you knew, there is space to fit an AirTag. So all you do is you turn it over, there is a little key that you turn here to unlock and move the hammer for the bell, and then you can fit your own AirTag in there. AirTags are not expensive, this is not expensive, and the battery will last for a year. That, I think, is such a clever idea. By using an incredibly basic design that nobody would think to look at, and by putting an AirTag in there, you are hooking into the power of literally millions of iPhones all over the world to find your bike if it goes missing. To be clear, a GPS-based system, of which there are some for bikes, some that fit inside the tubes, is in many ways a much more reliable system because it has its own connection to satellites overhead. It will see exactly where it is. It doesn't rely on that location being inferred from passing iPhones. But as I say, it is A, expensive, B, complicated, and C, requires a lot of management because it's so power hungry. This is a little 40-50 quid AirTag inside a generic ass bell that actually will do a good job of letting you know where your bike is. Now, I mentioned those limitations, and it's this. As an anti-stalking measure, which is a very good thing, Apple has made it so that if somebody drops an AirTag into your bag, for example, your phone will alert you if there is an AirTag traveling with you that's not yours, so somebody can't stalk you or make you vulnerable to violence. The AirTag itself will also beep quietly, but it will beep. So, if somebody stole my bike, whether the AirTag was in the bell or as it is currently under the saddle, and there is certainly part of me that goes, Chris, you're making a video about this, people will know where your AirTag is. If somebody stole my bike and took it to their house, it would be quietly making a noise, and they could then investigate, they could find the AirTag, remove it, and I'd be none the wiser. But for me, it just gives me that little tiny hacky bit of reassurance that if my bike goes missing, I'll have a window, a chance to go and get it back. Bike's never been taken yet, at the date of posting of this video. It might be. But I actually don't even use it for that so much. What I really use it for is, if for example I cycle, as I sometimes do, to the airport here and fly down to London, rather than sitting in London going, I hope my bike's okay, I hope my bike's okay, I hope my bike's okay, nobody's taken it, I can just open up the Find My app on my phone and I can see that yes, 3 minutes ago your bike was still there at the airport. And for the sake of a few quid, I think that's clever, I think it's simple, but I think it's effective. And whether you go for something like the AirBell or the light holder that I currently have or something else entirely, I think putting an AirTag on your e-bike is a good idea.